Right now, you are looking at the only human species left on Earth. But for 99% of human history, that was completely abnormal. Imagine walking into a city and seeing four totally different species of humans, some twice as strong as you, others a meter tall, all talking, hunting, and surviving alongside us. Then, suddenly, every single one of them vanished. Except us. Did we outlive them? Or did Homo sapiens commit the greatest genocide in biological history? The first mistake is imagining human evolution as a straight line. A hairy ape slowly standing taller until it becomes you. That line never existed. Human evolution was a branching bush. New populations separated, adapted, met again, mixed, and sometimes disappeared. At several points, different kinds of humans occupied the planet at the same time. Neanderthals lived across Europe and Western Asia. Denisovans left genetic traces from Siberia to populations far across Asia and Oceania. Small-bodied humans survived on Flores. Other branches had occupied Africa and Asia long before our species appeared. These were not four attempts to manufacture Homo sapiens. They were different populations solving different survival problems. Then the living branches began to go dark. There was no single night when every other human died. The disappearances happened in different places, at different times, for reasons we still argue about. So this is not one murder case. It is a collection of cold cases with the same species repeatedly appearing near the end of the story. Us. Start with Homo erectus, because this species destroys one comforting idea, that long survival means permanent survival. Homo erectus appeared around 1.9 million years ago. Its body had long legs and proportions suited to walking great distances. Members of this lineage spread far beyond Africa and occupied parts of Asia. Our species has existed for roughly 300,000 years. Homo erectus lasted many times longer. The youngest securely dated Homo erectus fossils come from Gandong on Java, from roughly 117,000 to 108,000 years ago. By then, this once widespread lineage may have survived only in isolated pockets. We do not know the exact final cause. Landscapes changed, habitats shifted, populations became separated. Eventually, a human lineage that had survived longer than recorded civilization can easily imagine ran out of recoveries. Homo erectus was not defeated for being new and inexperienced. It disappeared after being successful for an almost unimaginable length of time. Maybe the others vanished because they were weaker, less intelligent, or barely human. That explanation collapses when we meet the Neanderthals. They survived across Europe and Western Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. Their short, broad bodies conserved heat. They controlled fire, produced sophisticated tools, hunted dangerous animals, cared for injured group members, and sometimes made ornaments and symbolic objects. Their brains were comparable in size to ours. Their bodies were generally more powerful. And they were not strangers separated from us by an impossible biological wall. Homo sapiens and Neanderthals had children together. Many living people outside Africa carry Neanderthal ancestry today. So the old picture of a clever modern human replacing a stupid caveman is not an explanation. It is a comforting cartoon. Neanderthals knew their landscapes intimately, but they generally lived in small, scattered populations. And that creates a danger no amount of muscle can solve. A group can survive a bad winter. A species made of many tiny groups must survive every bad winter, every failed birth season, every disease, and every broken connection between them. Strength protects an individual. It does not automatically protect a population. Imagine two human populations entering the same unstable century. Population A has thousands of people connected across a wide region. If one group loses its hunters, tools can still arrive from another group. If food fails in one valley, relatives may exist beyond the mountains. A useful idea can travel farther than the person who invented it. Population B consists of small groups separated by long distances. Each group may be brilliantly adapted to its own territory. But when one disappears, its knowledge, relationships, and future children disappear with it. This is why demography matters. Small populations are vulnerable to inbreeding, random changes in birth rates, and ordinary streaks of bad luck. They do not need to lose a war. They can simply lose people slightly faster than they replace them. Researchers still disagree about the exact mixture of causes behind Neanderthal disappearance. But demographic weakness, especially small population size, is one of the strongest recurring explanations. Homo sapiens may not have needed to be dramatically smarter. We may simply have arrived in greater numbers, with wider connections and more ways to recover after failure. Now make the landscape move beneath both populations. Ice advances. Forest becomes grassland. Prey moves. Rivers change. Familiar plants disappear. Then the climate shifts again. Neanderthals survived many climatic swings, so climate alone cannot explain their end. But rapid environmental change can reduce an already small population. Competition can reduce it further. New diseases, unfamiliar hunting pressure, or the loss of one important food source can add another push. Extinction rarely needs one cinematic disaster. It can be a stack of ordinary problems, each one survivable alone. Then Homo sapiens entered territories used by other humans. We hunted some of the same animals, needed some of the same water, and occupied some of the same shelters. There is no evidence for one final global war between species. But direct warfare is not required. If one population grows while another slowly shrinks, the map changes generation by generation. The final disappearance can look sudden in the fossil record, even when the process took thousands of years. But extinction is not the only way for a population to disappear. Sometimes the boundary dissolves. When Homo sapiens met Neanderthals and Denisovans, they did not only compete, they also mixed. Today, many people outside Africa carry roughly 2% Neanderthal ancestry. Some populations in Oceania carry several percent Denisovan ancestry. A Denisovan-related gene variant helps many Tibetans function at high altitude. The individuals who carried those genes were eventually absorbed into much larger populations of Homo sapiens descendants. That does not mean Neanderthals or Denisovans remain alive as separate peoples. Their distinct populations, cultures, and combinations of traits disappeared. But it changes the image of a clean replacement. The other humans are not standing beside us anymore. Pieces of them are standing inside us. Maybe Homo sapiens did not only replace other humans. In some places, our growing population swallowed their remaining branches into its own. The Denisovans show how incomplete this investigation remains. Their discovery began with a fragment of finger bone from Denisova cave. DNA revealed a human population previously unknown to science. Later finds added teeth and pieces of jaw, but their fossil record remains tiny compared with the genetic shadow they left behind. We cannot point to one final Denisovan settlement or one confirmed extinction date. Their populations may have been spread thinly across enormous distances, some mixed with incoming Homo sapiens. Others may have disappeared without leaving fossils we have found. Then there is Homo floresiensis. These meter-tall humans lived on the Indonesian island of Flores. They made stone tools and lived in an ecosystem with dwarf stegodon, giant birds, and Komodo dragons. Their skeletal remains date to roughly 100,000 to 60,000 years ago. Associated stone tools and large animal remains continue to about 50,000 years ago. Recent evidence connects their decline with a drying climate that reduced water and habitat. Evidence for Homo sapiens at Liang Bua appears later, around 46,000 years ago. So we cannot honestly show modern humans arriving at the cave and killing its last small-bodied inhabitants. Perhaps the two populations met somewhere else. Perhaps they never met at all. On an island, drying water sources and a small population may have been enough. The empty space in the evidence is part of the story. So did Homo sapiens kill the other human species? Probably not through one deliberate campaign, and not in the same way everywhere. Homo erectus may have been gone before our species reached its last known refuge. The final story of the Denisovans remains hidden in fragments and living DNA. The small humans of Flores may have declined as their island dried, before confirmed Homo sapiens' occupation of their cave. Neanderthal disappearance gives us the strongest reason to suspect that our expansion mattered. But even there, the evidence points toward a combination: small populations, climate pressure, competition, interbreeding, and absorption. Homo sapiens may have possessed a powerful advantage, not a magical brain, but networks between brains. Larger social worlds allowed materials, partners, and ideas to move between groups. Culture could survive the death of the person who carried it. A connected population could recover from shocks that erased an isolated one. But geography mattered, population size mattered, timing mattered, luck mattered. We did not win one final battle for Earth. Different human branches ended in different ways. We competed with some, mixed with some, may never have met others, and eventually found ourselves alone. Today, the word human feels singular. One body plan, one surviving species, one face looking back from the mirror. But that is a recent and unusual condition. For much of our deeper history, being human came in different forms. Some were stronger, some survived longer, some carried adaptations we still benefit from today. They were not unfinished versions of us, and we are not the guaranteed final version of them. We are one surviving branch of a tree that once held many living branches. Maybe our connections helped save us. Maybe our numbers overwhelmed others. Maybe we absorbed part of what remained. And maybe we were lucky. The most disturbing answer is not that Homo sapiens was always destined to be the last human. It is that we were never destined to survive at all.